Mr. Harding, welcome back.
Oh, thanks very much.
No worries at all. Good to see you. I'm going to hand you over to my colleague now.
They called it doing the full M. No bullets, no body, just a message. And for that, 2 men got life. But before the murder plot, before the encrypted threats and arrest headlines, there was an empire. James Harding wasn't your typical street dealer. He didn't move product from corners or flash wads on Instagram. He was precise, controlled, invisible. A logistics man running Class A drugs like freight shipments. 500 kilos in just 10 weeks. Routed through London, Birmingham, Manchester. Street value, over £5 million. Jay's Kharouti was the operations lead. Younger, faster, boots on the ground. He ran supply lines, stashed weapons, and kept the couriers moving like chess pieces. They were quiet kings of the underworld. And unlike the cliché gangster image, they wore no gold chains, no Lamborghinis, just black hoodies, burner phones, and encrypted messages. In fact, their power came from silence, and EncroChat. EncroChat wasn't just an app, it was a fortress in your pocket. Custom-modified Android phones with no GPS, no camera, and no chance to trace. A self-wipe code could erase everything in under 10 seconds. To the criminal elite, it was gospel. Its tagline? Privacy at all costs. Harding used the handle The Top Skin. Kharouti, Best Tops, also known as Topsy Bricks. Together they ran a network of dozens, reliable, loyal, encrypted, until loyalty cracked. In early 2020, a shipment vanished. Then another. Rival messages hinted at leaks. Surveillance vans were spotted in safe-house zones. And Harding's tone changed, from strategic to scared. He suspected a rat, a snitch close to their core. And that's when his empire pivoted from product to paranoia. On the 9th of June 2020, Harding sent a message to Kharouti that read, "We need to silence this cunt before it gets worse." A day later, do the full M double tap, pay the bill. These weren't idle threats. Kharouti responded with times, addresses, escape routes. They even discussed payment, £30,000. And coded language, full M, double tap, no trace back. In the court's eyes, this wasn't venting. It was procurement, planning, conspiracy. What neither man knew was that their whole encrypted world had been cracked. Months earlier, French cyber police had hacked EncroChat. They'd injected malware that captured every message and forwarded it to British authorities in real time. Every emoji, every name, every murder plot. By the time Harding typed, "We'll pay the bill," it was as good as a confession. British law enforcement waited, tracking the plot, letting the conspiracy unfold. The hit never happened. The man was never named. He may not even know he was targeted. But the plan was real, and that was enough. On June 20th, 2020, the net closed. Jay's Kharouti was arrested first, in West London at 7 a.m. Officers raided a suburban home and found him still in bed. The EncroChat device, still glowing on his nightstand. Police seized burner phones, handwritten maps, and thousands in cash. And most damning, messages detailing the location of the would-be hit. Harding was picked up later across the water. He'd fled to Spain. But international arrest warrants were already in play. Spanish authorities grabbed him near Málaga. When UK agents arrived to extradite him, they brought one extra item, a bulletproof vest. "Mr. Harding," an officer said, "we've been expecting you." Back on UK soil, prosecutors were ready. They had names, code names, chats, timelines, motive, and a detailed play-by-play of how 2 men ordered a hit, step by step. The trial began in 2022 at Kingston Crown Court. The charges: conspiracy to supply Class A drugs, conspiracy to possess firearms, conspiracy to murder. The defense tried the obvious angle. It was all talk, they said. Dark jokes, empty bravado. There was no hitman, no gun, no payment, no dead body. But the prosecution had what mattered most: intention, and action toward that intention. They explained conspiracy law in the UK. You don't need to complete a crime. You just need an agreement, and even the first step toward it. Harding and Kharouti had taken several. The National Crime Agency mapped their messages like a timeline from a thriller. Step-by-step coordination, payment planning, violence arranged. They presented it like logistics, because that's what it was. The jury didn't need blood. They had a blueprint. Verdict: guilty on all counts. James Harding, life imprisonment, minimum of 23 years. James Kharouti, life imprisonment, minimum of 22. Both men showed little emotion, just silence, like the phones they trusted to protect them. But this is where the case fractures into something deeper, because no one died. There was no weapon, no shooter caught, no bullet fired. And yet 2 men will die in prison. Some called it justice. Others called it a dangerous precedent. Can we punish people for what they were going to do? Is planning violence, with intent, but without action, enough? The Harding-Kharouti case says yes. The court saw conspiracy as completed. Intent became reality. But not everyone agrees. Some criminal barristers questioned whether the Crown Prosecution Service relied too heavily on intercepted messages. Others asked, if no hitman was hired, no money exchanged, and the plan was never actioned, how do we separate serious crime from dark fantasy? But the EncroChat rulings are now UK legal precedent. Dozens have been jailed under similar circumstances, for plans, not outcomes. Harding and Kharouti became case zero. Intent alone became their life sentence. EncroChat wasn't just a British problem. The hack exposed more than 60,000 users worldwide. In the UK alone, over 1,000 arrests followed. Firearms, drugs, cash, even hit contracts, all uncovered through intercepted messages. One police commander called it the most significant blow against organised crime in British history. Another warned, this is just the beginning. But as the headlines rolled in, so did the controversy. Critics raised red flags. Legal experts questioned the admissibility of hacked data. Defense lawyers argued it violated privacy rights, that the evidence had been obtained without consent, without warrants in some cases, without borders even being respected. Some cases collapsed under scrutiny. Others resulted in decades-long sentences. Harding and Kharouti's trial became the poster child for this legal grey zone, the proof of concept for treating encrypted conversations as confessions. But this also raised philosophical questions. Where do we draw the line between speech and crime? What if someone's fantasy becomes their prison sentence? In 2023, a similar case emerged. A man convicted of plotting a kidnapping based solely on online messages. No action, just intention. The public reaction was split. Some applauded the proactive justice. Why wait until someone dies, they asked. Others were chilled. Are we criminalising thoughts now? And then came the question every defense lawyer dreads. If they hadn't been caught, would they have done it? That lingering what if shaped the entire EncroChat fallout. In Harding and Kharouti's case, the jury wasn't just shown messages. They were shown movement, surveillance, a trail. It wasn't just words, it was logistics. But the man they planned to kill, he survived. He might never even know how close death came. And maybe that's what makes this case so disturbing. It's not just about what people do, it's about how far they're willing to go in the dark. And now, the justice system has eyes in that darkness. Encrypted apps were once seen as untouchable. Now, they're Exhibit A. The silent kings of crime, Harding, Kharouti and their empire, never expected their downfall to come from their own fingers. They typed their own convictions. And that's why their case matters. It wasn't a gun, it wasn't a corpse, it was a message. One final echo. Do the full M double tap. We'll pay the bill. History may remember them not as murderers, but as a warning that in this age of digital evidence, your words can become your weapon, and your silence, your sentence. This is CaseDepth. We don't just report what happened, we expose what almost did.